Okay, welcome everyone, and welcome on this beautiful Bristol day. My name is Melissa Mean, and I've got the delight of being your Master of Ceremonies today. So I'm not an architect, but I do love working with architects. So 10 years ago, I worked with Architecture 00 to make an urban beach here in Bristol. Over the last 5 years, I've had the joy of working with the likes of Muff, Alec French architects, Peter Clegg, who's speaking later today, and the late great David Mackey on a community project to reclaim a dual carriageway here in Bristol. And more recently, I've been working with White Design and Barefoot Architecture to launch a new citizen-led affordable housing platform. So often in those projects, I've been working with architects quite at the edge of their professional boundaries. So working with architects when they've been activists, entrepreneurs. And it's an extremely exciting space to work. And I think it's those edges and those boundaries where new ideas and new markets happen. So that's what I'm really excited to be spending this day with you, exploring some of those possibilities. So my job here today really is to help us have a really good conversation and to keep us to time. So I've got Alex here down at the front, and he's going to be helping. He's got a series of red and green cards to keep everyone at time. But, you know, if anyone gets carried away, I do have a whistle, and I'm not afraid to use it. And as I said, I'm not an architect, but I did arrive here on a Brompton. I haven't got red trousers, but I do have a red dress. And if the occasion requires, I do have the most excellent pair of architect's glasses. So, you know, hopefully I can hold my own here today. So, yeah, we should have a fantastic day today. And I'm just going to introduce Ben Derbyshire, who you'll be relieved to know is a proper architect. Ben probably needs no introduction. So he's chair of HDA Design, past winner of RIBA's Most Innovative Practice Award, and he is, of course, your freshly minted, inaugurated President of RIBA. Ben, the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Melissa. Can you all hear me? Hear me in the back? Yeah, good. Thank you, Melissa, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the RIBA Smart Practice Conference 2017. I'm delighted to see so many of you here today. This is a challenging time for the profession, and it's great to see colleagues taking a day out of your offices to focus on business development. And it's also good to be hosting this conference outside London. Bristol is particularly rich in high-quality practices. The last 18 months have proved an uncertain and turbulent period in architecture as the economic, political, and regulatory environment remains in flux. The theme for this conference grew out of the work of the RIBA undertook to support members after the EU referendum last year. On surveying and talking to individuals and practices, it soon became apparent that new challenges and opportunities were to emerge post-Brexit. The shape of things to come is still not clear, but what is apparent is that nothing is to remain the same. Architects now need to be as enterprising and resilient as possible to survive and thrive in practice. They are going to have to be cannier and more vigorous than ever before in their pursuit of work. New Opportunities focuses firmly on the positives and where the emerging openings for practices might lie. It highlights steps that can be made by individuals and practices to optimize on business development. Our day kicks off with a keynote from Jan Knikker, partner of development at the Dutch practice of MVRDV, who I have admired and followed over many years. And he'll provide insights into the proactive approach that he has engendered in the leading Dutch practice. It's followed up by a session on instigating new opportunities that highlights the individual mindset, changes and individual effort required to cultivate new relationships and opportunities, as well as some very practical guidance on how to get started with that. And the afternoon session highlights new opportunities abroad and focuses on some of the strongest emerging sectors, such as infrastructure and housing. The day closes by putting the spotlight on how the astute adoption of new technologies can open up emerging sectors and enable a more immediate client communication. And I'm happy to say my colleague from HTA, Simon Bayliss, will be presenting later on that theme. So business development is not only for senior leaders. It is an activity that needs to be embedded across at all levels of practice. Whether it is an architectural assistants engaging with clients, project architects and associates trying their hand at networking, or directors leading on strategy. Whatever your level of experience in seeking out new work, we are hoping that all delegates today will leave with a determination to seek out new opportunities. Before handing back to Melissa, I have a number of people I would like to thank for their work in preparing this seminar. RIBA Southwest Director John Watkins and Project Manager Catherine Gandon for hosting the conference and for their close collaboration with the practice team at RIBA. Jan Knikker of MVRDV for travelling over from the Netherlands to provide the keynote, and all the other speakers for giving up their time to be with us. And a special thank you also to the steering group, who helped Helen Castle shape the programme for the conference and suggest speakers' names, and also to Chantal Nunes, the RIBA Practice Events Officer, who has worked tirelessly on the logistics of this event. And since I can't be with you beyond this first morning session, I hope you don't mind if I offer you my own halfpence worth on what it's all about. My own little homily for my practice has always been that if you want to be seen as of interest to clients, to media and society, you actually have to be genuinely interesting. It might seem like an obvious thing to say, but the question is, how do you get to be genuinely interesting? And I have one of those handy alliterative sequences of words which I use to remind people of how to go about it. And those words are curiosity, creativity, collaboration, and communication. The 4 C's that give rise to an interesting practice. Anyway, enough from me. I'd like to hand over now to Jan. Melissa, I think, is going to introduce Jan Knikker on behalf of the conference. Thank you very much, Melissa, and thank you all.